Hi, how are you? Welcome to Remember's Corner. So today I want to talk about offline mixing. So someone asked me if they mix a band and they multi-track record, and then they go in the studio and they're basically using the same mixer that they're going to use again or that they also use for that live recording. If they go in the studio and they remix again those multi-tracks on that mixer, and then now if they go back now to the venue to actually use those settings that they got whilst they were remixing in the mixer, is that doable? Does that work? Okay, so basically offline mixing, um, it does work, but there are just things that you also need to watch out for. So I'll give you an example, a case study. There was this awards event which was happening in America. So they had two OB vans. These OB vans, they were exactly the same in terms of the studio speakers in there and the mixer in there. So when an artist was racing on stage, the guy in the first OB van would be mixing the band on stage, and when the second band came for the rehearsal, the guys from Obiva number one would then send the multi-track recording of that rehearsal plus the settings of the mixer of that rehearsal. So the guy in the second Obivan would then play back the tracks and remix again that saved scene when that band was rehearsing. So in a way, the second guy would then be fine tuning whatever the first mix was done by the first Obivan. So and then now from that Obivan number two, they then send the file back to Obivan number one. So by the time they do the second check again, the mix is more revised. By the time the show happens, the mix is like at its best. So to answer the question that this guy asked me, if it does make sense to multi-track record a band and then go in the studio and remix it and then bring back that session file of the settings of the mixer, does that work? Yes, it does work. The only thing is just that is when you are mixing in a venue with speakers, the balance might not be the balance of how it sounds, that is between the bass and the mids and the highs may not be the same as the balance you're getting in the studio. It depends in the studio what kind of speakers are you having in there. And so the key thing to do is when you go with the multi-track in the studio, you're not really mixing for perfection. You are mixing to look at balance. How were the ratios between the different instruments. You are rechecking again your EQs on the different channels. You're also rechecking again if you had compressors in there, if you had gates in the channels. You also double checking to see, are those signal processors doing the right job, or are they adding value to the overall mix or not. And you also again rechecking your routings, be it to DCAs, to also see how are your DCAs aligned, and are they giving you enough control between the different elements. And you're also looking at, in the studio again, you're also looking at the effects that you're using for the different things. You also fine tuning them as well, the decay times. And you're also checking as well, can you use more than one effect again to cater for the different elements. So in essence, offline mixing, you are basically just rechecking your work and switching off channels that were on in the other, that were on during the live session, that you don't really need on again. So it just helps as a double checking and just listening to the mix. And one way you can also just see, to have an idea of a balance, is use a reference song in the venue. Listen to your reference song. Your system must sound as much as possible close to how that reference song sounds, and then put that same reference song in the studio, play it, So your speakers in the studio should kind of resemble again how that reference song sounds. So at least now, if you do any EQ changes offline in the studio, when you come online and when also a band performs, you more or less be in the same zone. So that's it really about offline mixing. The key thing is just that when you mixing live and you multi-track record, when you go in the studio to work on that with the same mixer you're going to use again for the live session, you're just in a way double checking. But don't try to fix things to be too perfect, because it might sound super amazing with those EQs in the studio, and then when you come on site and you're live, it might sound too light, or it might end up sounding too bright. That's just the thing that you need to check for. Thank you very much for watching Remember's Corner. Looking forward to have you some more. And also, people, please join my WhatsApp group on Remember's Corner. So from there, I get questions and then I answer them on this platform. Thank you very much. Bye for now.